So today, I want to talk about healing. If you are in spirituality, metaphysics, self-help, any of these areas, you have probably heard the term healing thrown around a lot. And you probably have certain ideas about healing and how to heal and what is required of you to heal and who you'd have to go to for healing and this sort of thing. And in any of these healing conversations, I do have to start off and say, I'm not a medical doctor. This is not medical advice. Follow your own knowing about what you need to do for your body and everything else in your life. But I wanted to talk about healing because I think it can be a lot simpler, a lot easier. I think it doesn't have to be as difficult and as stressful as we often make it out to be. You have an emotional issue or a physical issue or a psychological issue or any kind of issue, and then you start thinking of how to fix it, and you think about who you're going to have to go to help you fix it, or what you're going to have to take or ingest or put in your body or put in your mind. And it can be very confusing and very frustrating. And a lot of people, I think, find themselves with mystery illnesses, and they're going around from person to person and source to source trying to figure out what's going to work for them. And that can be very hard, especially if you do it for a long time. So how can we make all that easier? How can we make all that simpler? How can we make all that more effective? We can begin by thinking of healing as self-directed before anything else. You can start to think of yourself as the source of healing, because you are. Whatever you need, you're going to be the one to go out and get it, so you are the source of it, even if you're getting it from somebody else. Does that mean you don't receive from anybody else? No. Does that mean you don't ask for help? No. But we live in a society where you are trained to believe you are reliant on all these different sources of healing, and the barrier for entry has gotten lower on that. Anybody now can create a supplement or a course or a class or a modality, and they can throw it up on the internet, and they can charge you money for it, and you won't really know if it works or not until you try it. But they can put a lot of ideas in your head about how you need them because you ain't got what you need yourself. And, you'll notice in a lot of that marketing, they really raise the stakes. They latch on to your specific situation, and they try to tell you that it's really bad and there's no solution and they've got the solution. They don't do that directly. They do it very subtly. And ultimately, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just marketing, right? It's not the most evil thing in the world. But you'll notice, I'm sure, if you spend any time on social media or on the internet at all, you get one ad for diabetes or whatever your thing is, and then suddenly every other ad you see is somebody else telling you a different story about that same thing. And that can be very, very, very confusing and frustrating. So we start to self-direct. We start to trust the intuition. We start to trust the body. We start to trust the energy beneath everything more, right? And we start to dissolve the judgment of the situation more. Any situation you have with your body, with your mind, with your emotions, look and see if you're not judging that, right? You think it's bad, otherwise you wouldn't really want to get rid of it that much. You wouldn't really care. You think it's really bad, so you really want to do something about it. And with that comes heaps and heaps of judgment that we might not even really identify. And so, does that make it better? Does that make it easier to be beating myself up that I'm tired all the time, or to be beating myself up that my vision is not as good as I would like it to be? Or to be beating myself up that my relationship's not working, or beating the other person up that my relationship... Does any of that make anything better? No, of course not. So we start to let those judgments dissolve. We start to allow things as they are. We don't have to hold them in place. We don't have to, quote unquote, accept them and make them solid. But we start to allow things to just be as they are. And when you allow things to be as they are, you will see your misperceptions about those things start to drift away. It's very interesting because I'm sure everybody has at least one issue in life that they're trying to deal with. And it's really interesting because there's an attachment to that. There's a real holding on to that. There's a real thinking about that and dwelling on that, and it feels like it's with you all day, every day, and you can't get rid of it. And there's also, I wish I could get rid of it. I want to get rid of it. I'm averse to it. I'm avoiding it. I'm pushing it away. I'm resisting it. However that shows up, you just notice that there's two sides of this issue. There's really clinging to it and holding on to it and thinking that it's so real and rehearsing in your head all these different things about it. And then there's wishing you could push it away and get rid of it and eliminate it, and you don't really let yourself do that. So, how do we make this as simple as possible? How do we make this as easy as possible? Simply allow whatever your issue is to be whatever you think it is for right now. Just for this one moment, whatever issues you think you have, just see what happens if you don't do anything about that. If your mind is racing about it, that's okay. If you're totally in resistance to it, that's okay. Whatever your experience is right now, just allow your experience to be that. And I'm willing to bet that that alone is quite different for you. Because if you have been struggling and resisting it and fighting it, and then on top of that you're layering, well, I don't like that I'm struggling and resisting and fighting, and it's just a bigger and bigger pile as you go, right? So just letting everything be as it is on its own, without any other action or movement or anything to do or think, just that on its own is probably a pretty big shift. So again, just let everything that you're experiencing in this moment be exactly as it is. And once you reach that state where you're really okay with whatever things are right now, you're really at peace with whatever things are right now, or if you're not at peace with what things are right now, you're okay with how much you're freaking out about it. You're okay with how much you're spiraling about it. You're okay with... It sounds crazy to think that you'd be okay with spiraling, but spiraling and then freaking out that you're spiraling makes you spiral more. So really just be with it for a second. It's okay that I'm having the experience that I'm having. And as you start to open up to it being okay that you're having this experience, start to remind yourself that underneath whatever you've decided this experience is, that wherever the definitions are, wherever everything feels like it's set in stone, that it's concrete and real, underneath all that is just this formless, boundless energy that doesn't have any judgments about any of the things that are occurring in your life. That isn't fighting, that isn't struggling. It's just there, and it's just alive, and it's just moving, and it's just exploring, and it's just creating. allow yourself to remember that that energy exists before anything else that you've decided exists, and that that is you. Doesn't feel like you in your mind, but it is you. And you start to bathe in the awareness that before you are this person carrying around all these problems that you never seem to be able to let go of, you are this infinite well of energy, this being that doesn't have to figure all of this out, that has already figured this all out, that is beyond ever needing to figure this all out, that simply exists where it exists, and everything is beautiful. Everything is okay with you right now, and everything is beautiful with you right now. And you can simply relax knowing that you are this energy. You can simply be here and remember that you are this. Your mind doesn't understand it, and it doesn't need to. The healing occurs whether you think about your condition, whether you resist your condition or not. The healing just is. This energy that constitutes everything you are made up of is willing to change itself, to rearrange itself into whatever you choose. But have you been choosing consciously from an awareness of what you want? Or have you been choosing from a mental landscape of fear and anxiety? You are this infinite, abundant, limitless energy. Give yourself this moment to really know that. You may not feel it in the conventional sense of feeling, but you can know it. Perhaps not intellectually, but on a deeper level. So just be here, allowing this energy to flow throughout your entire body. It already is. You don't have to get it to do that. You don't have to give it instructions. Just notice it. Your body does all of these different things automatically. Breathing. When you go to sleep, your body's doing so many different things automatically that you're not even aware of, because you're not occupying in the body the same way when you're asleep. So this energy clearly is intelligent in some way and doesn't even need your instruction. So just notice it. Notice that the healing is happening, whether you do anything or not. And notice if anything in your mind has seemed to get in the way of healing. This doesn't mean it does get in the way of healing. Just see if it seems to. See if there are disturbances in the mind based on the fear that you are not an abundantly healing organism. And look to what you think the limits of healing are. You have been told, I am sure, your entire life, the limits of healing. Look to what you think they are and start to let those limits dissolve. Start to let that come off you, because it's not real. No one else gets to decide for you what the limits of your experience are. Only you can decide that. Other people can yell it at you, other people can give it to you and you can take it on, but other people can't truly decide for you. And you don't have to resist their misperception anymore. That's the true healing, when you don't have to resist anyone else's misperception, because you're so tuned in to your own radiance that it's not necessary to fight with anyone else's experience, to disprove anyone else's experience, to try and control anyone else's experience, to try and correct their interpretation. That's the true healing. When you don't have to work and struggle and fight to correct the misperceptions about the nature of reality. Everywhere you look, you will encounter people who are either fighting to dismantle misperceptions that people have, or fighting to maintain misperceptions that people have. And look at either side and see if that's working. See if that's getting to what we all want. So we have to recognize fighting the misperception is a losing battle regardless. It's really just flavor for the experience. It's not as serious as I just made it sound. It's really just part of a game. But if what you're after is healing, truly, is the resistance going to help you? Is the fighting going to help you? Simply allow everything to fall away just for this moment. Whatever you've been dwelling on, whatever you've been fighting, whatever you've been trying to avoid, whatever you've been afraid of, allow it all to be the illusion that it is. It really is just a misperception. If you're struggling to pay the rent, as an example, it's so easy to conclude that you're stuck in a fixed position and you really need to grind the gears as hard as you can to figure out some way to pay the rent. But it doesn't matter how high your rent is, and it doesn't matter what kind of timeline you're on. you can create more than enough money this second to pay the rent. And I want you to notice, if you're a person who stresses out about the bills, stresses out about money, stresses out about anything like that, notice the timeline in your head. Are you thinking about how much money you have now and how much money you need by the end of the month or by the day that the rent is due? And have you already determined and calculated how much money you think you're going to have? How much money you think you're going to get each day? And do you see that when you do that, you're not open to all of the rent in one day from anywhere? All of the rent in 1 hour from anywhere. And your mind might go, there's no possible way. Contextually speaking, in my life, that's simply not possible. That is an area where you want to return to this infinite energy that can create anything, that is willing to follow it. Even to speak about it is difficult, because I can say it's willing to follow your desires or your requests. And that's somewhat correct. But it's not even that complicated. You are one with it. So it does whatever you have it do. And it knows ways of creating that. You know ways of creating that go far beyond what your intellectual mind, what your thoughts are going to tell you and are going to come up with. There's a lot of people in spirituality and metaphysics who sort of bemoan the mind. And I don't think that that's necessary. I don't think that we need to act like the mind is just some horrible thing. But it's kind of like a muscle. It does whatever you have it do, and it's as strong as you use it to be. Your mind can be a profound help to what you want to accomplish, and it can be a profound hindrance, but it's really up to you. It's just about you. You're not subservient to your mind, even if it seems that way. You're not victim to your mind, even if it seems that way. So, any area where you stress or you fear or you have pain or suffering, open that up to what it was before you decided it was that. Let it be whole and complete as it is now. Recognize in this moment that whatever you're holding in mind that you need to heal from, you're already healing from. You already are healed from. Don't put it on a timeline, and don't put it under a microscope. We often will keep checking the same issue over and over and over and over and over again. We'll check the bank account over and over and over again. We'll feel the pain in the body over and over and over again. And some of this stuff, it's hard not to habitually keep checking over and over and over again. But we use that as a confirmation bias. We go, well, it still hurts, so I'm still sick. I still feel this symptom, so I'm still sick. I still don't have the money, so I'm broke. We do all of this stuff, and it's ignoring what's occurring, the healing that's occurring, the creation that's occurring even. If you really knew whatever it is you want to create as an experience, you are already creating it and it's already created, you wouldn't really freak out about it other than for your own entertainment and your own drama. So just let the energy that you are wash over you. Let it restore you and renew you as it constantly is. Let your mind know that that is happening. And the more you let your mind know that that is happening, the more your mind will be able to accept what already is. You know, it's quite interesting. When you're younger, your mind is not full of very much. And people will explain things like how the sun comes up to you. The sun comes up all day, every day, whether you have any explanation in your mind about that or not. And I don't think you know anyone on Earth who's afraid that the sun is not going to come up tomorrow. And your mind might have some explanation for that it believes, but you don't really know. You kind of have some idea, but you don't really know. But you're not ever thinking about that. Your mind just believes that. And the fact that your mind believes that is comforting. It would be terrifying to think that maybe the sun is never coming up ever again. That would be pretty scary. But your mind doesn't really go there. But your mind will go all of these places that it's been trained to go, that you don't want it to go, and then you'll beat yourself and your mind up that it's going someplace that it's been trained to go. In some ways, it might be helpful to think of it as a pet, you know? We train our pets, and some people train them through abuse, and some people train them through kindness. What do you want your relationship to your mind to be? That you're abusive to yourself and your mind based on your mind's training so far? Or that you retrain your mind in the kindest and most effective way possible, easily? Your mind can be restored in a moment, but you got to choose that. You got to go for that. You got to be with that. You got to be there. Got to be here. So one last time, just let that energy that animates everything, creates all life on Earth and everywhere else, just remind your mind that that energy is here with you now. It is healing you and restoring you as it has always been. It creates your experience in your life in whatever direction you choose to guide it. And you can always choose to change course wherever you want to go, wherever you want to be. And enjoy the experience right now as much as you can. If you enjoy today 1% more than you did yesterday, in 100 days, you'll have a 100% better life. And it will cost you nothing. Can't beat that. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for watching. As always, so grateful to have you here. I hope every single one of you is getting happier and happier every day and more of what you want. Please like this video if you got something out of it. Subscribe to the channel if... Somebody's really loud outside. Subscribe to the channel if you can, if you're interested in seeing more stuff like this. And if you know anybody who would benefit from this, please share it around. And again, if you got any specific issues that you are dealing with that you would like help with, anything you've been confused or lost about, you don't know where else to go. I don't have an answer for you, but I would love to address your situation and be with you on that. So feel free to leave a comment if there's anything at all that you would like me to address about anything. Okay? I will see you soon. Bye-bye.